Well, let's take a look at this news just in. This is out of the court in Johannesburg. The state says it has a strong case against the Thulsie twins who are accused of terrorism. It told the Johannesburg Magistrates Court that the brothers were intent on carrying out attacks on behalf of the Islamic State. Prosecutors say Tony Lee Thulsie was planning to blow himself up and that his brother, Brandon Lee, tried twice to fly to Syria to join ISIS and that he received funding from a member of the terror group. This is news just in out of the Johannesburg Magistrates Court at this hour. Our reporter Karen Morn is at that courtroom for us and we'll get an update from the latest developments from her. Now, of course, it comes as in the last couple of days there have also been claims from the state witness Arashad Smith, who retracted his statement to police 10 days before the Thulsie twins' bail application was set to be heard, and some allegations being made there against the police and the methods that they used in order to retract the statement. Coming up now is Karen Jays. She speaks on behalf of Cage, and they've raised issue with the statements that have been made by the state witness Arashad Smith. Good morning to you, Karen. Perhaps let's just talk about the allegations of due process not being followed, being made against the state in terms of securing a statement from this witness. What is alleged to have happened exactly here?
Thank you, Kathy. Well, what concerns Cage is that there seems to have been some intimidation of Arashad Smith during the process of taking down his statement. According to documents that we've seen that were passed on to us by Arashad's lawyer, Arashad claims that there were some threats made to members of his family that they would be locked up if he didn't comply, and that there was also some interrogation for about 4 hours, during which time the chief investigating officer wrote down a statement and then sort of handed over the statement to him, and without giving him any time to read it, made him sign the statement. And those are the reasons for him retracting the statement, which was done quite some time before the hearing, in fact.
Outside of the statements of how he was treated by police in terms of the harassment against his family, and of course the allegations that they used harsh methods of interrogation to get the statement out of him, does it actually have anything to do with the integrity of what is being said in that statement?
Well, we have reason to believe he didn't get a chance to read over the statement properly, and we have reason to believe that it does compromise the case because due process wasn't followed. What we've been calling for in this is a fair trial, and that obviously the rights of all those involved be respected. And in his case, he wasn't given, he wasn't informed of his right for legal representation at the time, nor was he informed of a right not to sign the statement in his case. So the due process was not followed. So in that case, yes, we do believe that that those methods need to be interrogated.
Karen, what is his involvement in this case? I mean, why has he been roped in here by the police?
We have reason to believe that they were in contact on social media. We don't know as far as what kind of contact or what exactly was involved at this point. But you know, it must be emphasized that he did retract his statement. So that I think must be the focus at this stage, and must call into question some of what the state is holding.
But of course, there's a lot of sensitivity around this case. I mean, coming out of court now, the state saying that it has clear reason to believe that they were going to be carrying out attacks and that one of the twins was going to blow himself up. So it's definitely a sensitive case. To what extent do you think having the retraction of the statement then weakens or strengthens the case of the state? I would assume at this point it would certainly weaken it.
It does weaken it, yes, considerably. We also, we must look at the methods that have been used in gathering information in this case. There's obviously been a fair amount of gathering of information on social media and piecing together a kind of profile on the twins, which is concerning for many people who use social media in South Africa, very concerning. So we feel that this is something that needs to be brought to light, it needs to be interrogated, and it needs to be seen in light of what the state is saying at this point.
I need you to, perhaps before I let you go, just explain that for us in terms of the use of social media and the methods that police are going to in order to gather information. Perhaps if you can give us details of what exactly you believe the police have done that has been untoward.
Well, I think it is in terms of guesting on social media platforms, observing conversations, recording things that may have been said in haste, perhaps. Also, there are many people in South Africa that do look at jihadi websites. They do look at certain Islamic scholars, for example, and this does not in any way say that they are predisposed towards committing an act of violence. This is, in fact, just a general interest, and I think at this stage there are many people who are watching this case on tenterhooks because they have perhaps been viewing material which they don't necessarily support but are actually interested in seeing because they're interested in what is developing in the Middle East and in those situations. So I think piecing together a case based on social media needs to also be interrogated. There needs to be a clear context to what people are saying, and there needs to be, you know, questions of free speech. Nobody wants to know that they are being spied upon, for example. Statements around issues in Palestine, for example, might be misconstrued. And there are many ways in which a case can be built using tidbits from social media. And I think this is something that we need to be concerned about as South Africans.
All right, that's where we'll leave it for this morning. Karen Jays, she's spokesperson for Cage Africa. Of course, she's speaking also on a breaking news story taking place. The state saying that it has a strong case against the Thulsie twins who are accused of terrorism. We'll bring you more details on the story in